going on, guys? It's Coach Steven with 15 Points of Tennis. A lot of times now, players will say that one side, either their forehand or their backhand, it just feels natural. Now, funny enough, that natural feeling is usually irrelevant on whether the technique looks textbook perfect or whether it might look a little bit goofy. Many years ago, my forehand, the technique was decent enough to fool the untrained eye, but the feeling in my body, it always felt like I was just forcing the racket through, especially if I didn't get the timing perfect, compared to the left side of my body, which just flowed and felt smooth. Now, at the time, I just thought the right side of my body was cursed, but what I really lacked was a key component called weight transfer, which took the pressure off my upper body from having to hit the ball, contact it perfect every single time. A lot of coaches will just say, step into your shot, or move through the ball as you hit, or get the big muscles into the shot, but that doesn't really describe how weight transfer works. So before we start, take 2.5 seconds to hit that subscribe button. Okay, so you get all the future videos. We're going to do a follow-up to this as well. Let's get started. Now, the weight transfer can be as simple as starting with the weight on your back foot, swinging, finishing with that back toe up, thereby shifting the distribution of weight from back to your front foot. Now, the problem occurs when the weight shifts too early onto the front foot, okay, but even before I swing. If the weight shifts too early, none of the weight actually transfers into the ball. As you can see, my power has dissipated already into the ground. All that's left is me hitting the ball with my arms. So this is called a false step, which severely limits my power and my ability to generate pace. So instead of false stepping, we need to actually keep the weight on your back foot. Therefore, you should be able to pick this front foot up. Now, this weightless step is called an empty step. Okay, an empty step, if you ever watch, batters in baseball, they always constantly readjust that front foot to make sure that their weight starts back, and then boom, right? So you need to keep that weight on that back foot, and only at the right moment, you shift from back, boom, to neutral. Once your weight shifts to neutral, and my center is aligned here over neutral, that's when I gain rotational power to rotate, boom, and complete the weight transfer. Okay? What happens is if I lean too early like this, and my axis isn't straight, it's actually very hard to rotate on the ball for power.
Off a hand-fed ball, my goal is to generate as much pace as possible. With a false step, yes, I'm hitting the ball clean on the strings, but there's not much pop because all that's doing the work is my upper body. Compared to the weight transfer, as you can see, I'm holding the weight on my back foot and shifting right as I hit and I rotate. This is getting the shift of the weight, the energy, into the ball at the right time. Looking at the false step from the side view, technically I am kind of getting my weight forward. The problem is it's too early and it really immobilizes my legs. As you'll be able to notice, at contact, it actually looks like my legs and my body is going down as I'm hitting. Compare that to the weight transfer slow-mo, where I'm not moving down, but I'm actually moving up into the ball and pushing up with my legs. And the weight transfer is going to be a big part of using your legs correctly. But I'm going to watch when that weight goes down. Now, right there, that's when my weight is established on my front foot, and then you see the shift and the rise. Okay, back, shift, and the shift is smooth and seamless sometimes on a good day, but that's channeling that weight shift into the ball. It's like that little hit of the legs right there, and then that rotate and finish.
So let's break this down step by step. All right, so 100% of your weight starts on that back foot. Obviously, you haven't put this foot down yet, so 100% of your weight is back here. Now, the empty step sort of leads you to believe that none of your weight is on this foot. But if you aren't able to get low and balance on this back leg, then what's going to happen is you're going to end up leaning back awkwardly to counterbalance this leg stepping forward for the empty step, which is not good. from personal experience, it's a little bit easier. It helps to have about 20 to 30% of your weight on this front foot as you step. Okay, so you're not quite shifting as much weight from back to front, but it's going to be a little bit easier to get the timing and balance, right, than if you're all the way back here. So to recap, it starts with, prior to stepping, 100% of your weight back, 0% of your weight forward. Okay, as you step, maybe about 75%, 25%. As right before you swing, moments prior, you shift to about 50-50. Then you'll swing and rotate and finish 0 to 100, completing the weight transfer. Now just keep in mind, if my feet are too wide, my base is too wide, then too much of the weight is evenly distributed to shift anything. Also, if I'm too narrow like this, my feet don't have enough leverage to grip the ground and shift. So ideal for a weight transfer might be something like shoulder width to maybe 2 shoulder widths apart, somewhere in that range. Now lastly, just keep in mind that the weight transfer is so highly dependent on timing, so you have to really practice waiting, and boom, shifting at the right moment and hitting. See, just a little too early is going to be a false step, and a little too late, not getting enough weight on this front foot, it's going to force me to muscle the ball with my upper body, not get either. When you get this, boom, that shift, perfect, at the right time, boom, it's going to make your racket feel like a hot knife through butter.
To demo in live ball, as you can see, that right heel hasn't gone down yet, so there's no weight until I shift at the last moment. And I'm not going to lie to you, this, if you don't do it naturally as of now, it's going to take some time to integrate into your footwork, so be patient.
In my next video, I'm going to go deeper into the weight transfer, but I want to put the weight transfer in context with the false step. So the false step, even though it limits my ability to generate power here, it does provide a lot of stability, and it helps me really use pace and deflect heavy balls. So once I'm able to take this big step and lean, right, I'm in a very strong position. If you were to put pressure on me and try to knock me over, I can take a lot of pressure here, right? But if I didn't get all that weight down and my weight is still on my back foot at contact, even the lightest tap, the lightest push is going to send me flying. It's going to knock me off balance. So when the ball comes hard and heavy at you, all right, also if you're taking the ball on the rise, a heavy top spin or a moon ball on the rise, you should absolutely false step and lean into the shot. Okay, main thing is getting this, like, look how much I commit this foot. This foot goes down hard and heavy into the ground, okay, because you need all your weight moving forward into the shot, okay, if the ball is coming heavy. Now, in theory, all right, on those hard, heavy balls, you could choose to weight transfer, but it's a little riskier, as, it might knock you off balance. Obviously, if the ball's soft, floating, and slow, and you have the time to weight transfer to generate pace, you absolutely should do so.
Here's where the false step excels, when he's hitting hard and deep, and I'm getting that front foot down almost in a lunge position, just leaning on the ball with my body weight. I already have plenty of pace to work with. There's no need to generate more pace. It doesn't make sense. I just need to stabilize and control the pace I'm using. And now I still need to space well to the ball. Okay, see how I didn't space well in that last one. So there's still a lot of skill in false stepping well. It's just a very different situation compared to the weight transfer, where on a softer feed, I'm going to use a weight transfer to put the ball through the court, and I still have to time it well. Look, that weight transfer is too early, so I lost the power, and then I didn't aim high enough, right? So you still have to wait, and then boom, transfer at the right time, and you have to be able to switch back and forth between these two techniques. We've staged some points to show you the on the rise of a moon ball or heavy topspin and redirect. And here I'm going to lean on the ball and use the pace. And if you aren't getting your front foot down hard and committed, I bet this ball is going to probably fly long on you, because you don't have that necessary support and stability. Now you still have to time it well. That last one I mistimed, but here if he hits it hard, I can lean in and redirect, use the pace. So it's a great option if you can predict where that ball is going and just guide it in the right way. So here I'm just going to lean in and redirect.
The other major factor for the false step is body size. Now, a big guy like Del Potro can just lean in on the ball with his body weight and still generate a ton of pace. Whereas a small guy like me, if I were to lean on the ball and hit, I don't have enough power to put the ball away. Instead, a smaller guy like me, I'd have to get my feet in position, get up to it, weight transfer, turn and rotate to get that same type of force. Now, it's not that Delpo doesn't use the weight transfer as well. He just tends to false step and lean more than a lot of the smaller guys on tour. And you might think it's unfair that like a big guy can just lean on the ball, use less energy to get a lot of pace compared to a small guy. And you're right, but the advantage of the weight transfer, it allows you to shorten your swing and it allows you to have a much quicker release time with the racket, boom, with that quick weight transfer. Think about Andre Agassi's backhand, how quick he can just load and boom, turn on the ball, right? Compared to Delpo, who tends to false step a little bit more, and he has to take a little bit bigger of a swing to compensate. That step is just a little bit slow. Now, what release time does for you as a player is it makes your shot a lot more disguised and hard to read off the strings, right? Just because it comes off the strings so fast. Because you need to select your target before you accelerate the racket head, a really savvy defender can read the body language sometimes of someone taking a bigger swing, a longer swing. Even if you hit the ball hard, right, they can see where you're hitting and predict where you're going a lot of the time. Where that quick weight transfer boom is much tougher to predict.
Delpo still hits the ball extremely well false stepping, but notice how it slows his release time down with that big step forward. He has to kind of telegraph his shot a little bit by leaning in the direction that he's hitting the ball. See, it's a very slight lean forward. Now compare that to when Delpo weight transfers. Okay, after this forehand right here, he can just hold and fire. It comes off. He can release that racket so much faster. Look how fast Agassi can release it. It's instantaneous. And then, despite having to hit the ball super hard, you can win with more disguise, take a much smaller stroke, and still get pretty good power again with that much smaller stroke. Because that shift and rotate comes off so much faster than stepping and leaning, it gives me a slightly different style of play and different capabilities.
So it's not just a matter of body size, but also, play style as well, because we would see a bigger player like Marat Safin who would rarely false step and lean into the court, but just, boom, pop the ball with a short swing and a quick weight transfer. So whether you're small or large, you need both options to cover whichever situation you might run into. So thanks for watching, guys. That wraps it up for today. In the next video, we're going to go deeper on the weight transfer, talking about the techniques that are going to help you master this feeling, as well as show you how it integrates with the rest of the stroke. Look forward to seeing you there on the next episode.